What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in for From the Forum, your hangout, Fantasy Football Advice Network, bringing you your questions or your answers to your questions. There's Jack. What's up, Jack?
What's going on, fellas?
Hey, what's up, man?
Some
Coming
fucking
in looking like Randy Savage with
Oh
the
yeah.
shades on.
yeah. No, I'm keeping the shades on too because I've fucking got like some eye sensitivity going on right now.
Nice. I'm gonna go. Let's see. I'm gonna share the live link on Twitter real quick.
Yeah, let's get everyone going here. Man, we already got questions coming in from Instagram. Let's see. Kelly or Stevenson? With Eckler out, do you want Kelly or Stevenson?
That's easy
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, for me too. I'm also going Stevenson on that one.
It's the Miami matchup, but even if you look last week when he had his bad game, he was still doing work in the receiving game. So to me, that's smash Ramondre. I don't like the matchup. To me, Josh Kelly is break glass in case of emergency if you have like Zach Moss or someone shittier.
Yeah, but speaking of Zach Moss, what are you thinking about that this week? You starting Zach Moss?
Not if I can help it.
Same.
You're like last resort, Zach Moss. Last resort.
Let's get JC on here and see what he thinks about Moss. Let him get on his soapbox.
He's coming. He's coming. He just sent me a message, said he's ready to hop on. So I'm sending him the stream link.
Good. We'll revisit that topic then. See what he thinks about Zach Moss.
There's backups I would play before Zach Moss.
Hole is out, and I would probably start Hole over Zach Moss.
Oh yeah, it's brutal.
It
feels like running backs and tight ends. It's week 2, and we're already in this like slog of just injury ridden.
Yep.
Just awful options.
Tight ends didn't even make it to week 1. Like they sat out the first week. It's just like.
Yeah, I had to look smart by calling Hunter Henry the play of the week in like the wake of the Kelsey injury, and I don't even feel good about it because like all the tight ends are just terrible.
Right, like you only had 3 to choose from, so you just him and Hayden Hurst both did good, so your odds were good.
Yeah,
that's funny. That's it's just some high draft capital out early, and that sucks.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like a plague this year. I mean, so many injuries. Hey, somebody, by the way, has is an echo on there.
Maybe when I changed the settings so I could actually hear you guys.
Now you got your shit together.
There's echo cancellation on my side, so.
Yeah, mine too, but who knows?
Yeah, there's no telling. Anyway, so welcome to fantasyfootballadvice.com's From the Forum. This is where we dive into questions from fantasyfootballadvice.com. It is the platform for social media, nothing but fantasy football. These guys are there. Jack, Corey, JC will be popping on any minute now. But we just hang out. It's a fantasy football community. Everybody's there for that. There's content creators, there's users. And so this is our show to go through those questions, to answer yours live. I see Clash with Joey's got one already over there. Start 2, half PPR, Flowers, Puka, Watson if healthy, Nico Collins, or Kelly. Oh, what's up, JC?
Got the throwback on.
But anyways, hey, before we get into these questions, would love for everybody to just introduce yourself, tell them, who you are, where they can find your content, and so who's answering their questions tonight?
Let's go with.
You start us off, Jack.
Jack first. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Jack's on mute. There we go. We're good.
All right, Jack, try again.
All right, let's start this round 2. Yeah, Fantasy Joker. You can find all my stuff pretty much just on YouTube and on Twitter. I do some stuff on TikTok too, because, hey, fellow kids out there. But otherwise, just a bunch of dumb stuff. I mix in some analysis here and there, but mainly for me, it's the Wild Card Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, I get to interview a content creator in the space. Those ones are actually like dope episodes, so go check those out. And then, in between, I'll hit you with some bad wrestling promos and some fantasy advice.
Can we get a yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me talk to you.
Nothing wrong with a good wrestling promo.
That's right.
Yeah. What's up, JC? You've been on a couple times. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Where can we find you?
What's up, everyone? I am JC. You can find me at JC Money Design, at the Sports Affiliation, at the Sports Affiliate on Twitter. We're just a fun community doing positive things. I know Jack's been on our show, with Iggy on the game show on Mondays. It was dope. We got a lot of stuff going. We got Tuesday show, Wednesday show, Thursday show, Friday show. I mean, it's pretty much nonstop. And now we got the girls show going on Tuesday. So, I mean, pretty much you can find us on YouTube at the Sports Affiliation, or you could go check us out on our website, sportsaffiliation.com. So just go check us out. It's a good community.
And lastly, the one, the only Corey.
Mine's not as exciting as those guys made it. Man, that was
Yours is exciting.
They've got their elevator pitch down. Jeez, man, no pressure. I should have gone first. No, so I'm Corey. You can find me at Twitter at Corey_FFAN because I am with the Fantasy Football Advice Network. So find me over there. I also interact through all of the company's official Twitter sometimes, but Instagram and Facebook group and everything too. So that's me. I'm kind of the technical guy, the website guy for the Fantasy Football Advice Network.
Hey, it's all good. I'm Tyler. I'm nobody. I'm just here to hang out and talk some fantasy football with you folks. So we're gonna get going. What's up, Albert? I see you over there. Marcy popping in. By the way, JC, Marcy's the real deal.
Dude,
the real deal.
She's the best, man.
Appreciate you, Marcy. So we're going to just get into the meat of this and flip over to the Fantasy Football Advice Network for the first question from Captain Borchia. I am in a regular non-PPR, and I can pick one up for waivers, but to start, who do you go with? Kyron Williams, Gus Edwards, or Mostert?
I'm in a regular league.
I don't want to start. I mean, I feel like Mostert. I mean, a lot of people are going to be going off of these week one like explosions, right?
Yep.
And I don't think it's going to happen again in week two. I think you're going to see some more of these normal players that we thought kind of start blowing up. When it comes to the new system that they've got in play, with the 3 weeks, these teams aren't getting enough time to play together. We're used to before the 4 weeks, right? They would do cut every week, and the players would get to play with each other more. But now it's like nobody's getting cut, and all these nobodies are playing with each other. And all of a sudden, by week one, we're starting to play with each other again. That's why we saw a lot of these teams just look like they had no idea what they were doing. So I might just go. I don't really want to go Mostert, or I might have to go Kyron, and I don't even like it. I'm not excited about any of these players. I think we're going to get a bunch of busts this week on some of these big time players that went off in week one. I'm not excited.
Those are all gross options. Out of them, I'm taking the least gross, in my opinion, which is Kyron Williams. It's because he's the incumbent in the sense of, like, the team drafted him. They liked him coming out of Notre Dame. They like his character. He has a clear path to seeing like a split backfield with Cam Akers. With Mostert, it's Devon Asian, Salvin Ahmed, and every other. Jeff Wilson will pop his head up at some point. It's like you never know who it's going to be with the Dolphins. And with the other dude, who was the other one?
Gus Edwards.
Yeah, Gus Edwards, same thing. Justice Hill's been on the team for like 5 years. Gus Edwards coming off his own injury. Melvin Gordon, his bones are still kicking around that team. At least with Kyron, it's Kyron and Cam. So
Yep.
I'm taking the least of the evil options there.
Yeah, no, I think I'm right there with you. I've said it over and over again. I'm just avoiding that Baltimore backfield now, 100%, because they're just going to rotate those guys. It's going to be a hot hand situation. It's something that I absolutely hate. So I'm just avoiding it at all. Kyron Williams, like you said, at least it's kind of a split, and we kind of know what to expect there. So I'm just going with that lesser of three evils there, I guess.
Lamar Jackson is that backfield.
Exactly.
Everybody says that. Lamar Jackson is the backfield.
Hell, I said that when J.K. Dobbins was there. So, you know.
I mean, it was almost the same thing with Jalen Hurts last night. How pissed off were DeAndre Swift managers until he finally got that touchdown in the last part of the game? Like, I made a bit about it of like people were just furious watching the tush push over and over again.
Yep.
I saw a really, really good one from Talladega Nights. You know, that the conversation where he's like, John C. Riley's like, well, what about one time if you let me, let me would get a win? He's like, well, then I'm not going to get a win. It's like Jalen Hurts like, I'm not going to get a touchdown. He's like, I guess I didn't want to get a touchdown anyways. The running backs. It's funny still. It's crazy. The butt push, man. The tush push.
We got another one over here.
Penny, that stupid. He cost me $100. The fumble and the hold. I had everything else right on a bet, but the one I missed was touchdown from Justin Jefferson, touchdown from AJ Brown. I had to watch both of them barely not happen, so that was exciting.
Yeah, that hurt, man. Trust me, I'm a Vikings fan, and I got to watch that decimation. It's we're at what eight turnovers by week 2. That's disgusting.
Yeah, that's bad. That's really bad.
I mean, Kirk still honestly performed better than I thought he was going to, because I was asking, like, is it going to be you like that Kirk or primetime Kirk that we see yesterday? And we kind of got a mixed bag. But by the end of the game, it was you like that for fantasy. Yeah. He hasn't scored 4 touchdowns in like 2 years. I don't think people realize that.
Here's the crazy thing is the possession. We got to look at the time of possession. The Vikings only had the ball for 20 and a half minutes. So Kirk Cousins scored 4 touchdowns in 20 and a half minutes. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. That's nuts. After this week, the Cowboys could have as many takeaways as the Vikings have giveaways.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins is on pace for 5,900 yards right now. So,
and
it's like,
and
what,
like 200 turnovers?
Yeah, it's like the year Jameis said, you lead in interceptions, but you also throw a lot of yards.
Works out.
Man, it's crazy.
We got another one in here from YouTube here. We got Dr. Hook. Will Swift have a breakout season, and would you start him for Mixon 12-team PPR?
No, I would not.
I mean, depends on the week. I don't feel like Mixon is like a set it, forget it running back. That's the thing. I don't feel like Mixon enters the CMC Nick Chubb category for me, where I'm blindly starting him regardless of the matchup. So, I mean, if the matchup really dictated it, like, I was very much out on the Eagles backfield until last night, because this was a situation where whoever's telling you they knew it was going to be DeAndre Swift is completely full of it. You had no idea who it was going to be last night. And it could have just as easily been Rashad Penny, and they would have been the ones taking the victory lap, putting dirt on DeAndre Swift's name. So next week, it could literally just change right back. We have no idea. So I do think like DeAndre Swift is a good player. I traded for him in Dynasty in the offseason. I always thought he was valuable on an Eagles team when he did get his shot. But that doesn't mean, again, that I'm like, oh, well, he's an RB1 rest of season. I could just start him anytime now. I think it's still very much like matchup based and dependent. And with the Vikings, like, I'll be targeting their run defense for the rest of the year.
And pass defense. It doesn't matter. Just target the Vikings defense.
They're this year's Houston.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now on this, if I have Swift, I am sell. Like, long term, if you watch the game, like if you actually watch the game, which a lot of people probably were like, not, they're just seeing that stat line and they're like, oh my God, like DeAndre Swift, every time he got touched, he went down. He's not going to have like that much space, to get 8 yards before he hits first contact regularly. Also, there's, 2 other guys and for sure Gainwell that they want in the backfield. So right now, like if I have Swift, I'm probably taking Swift. I'm pairing them with probably a mediocre receiver, and I'm trying to upgrade. I'm trying to get one of those guys like Jack said that is a set it and forget it. Like if I can, take advantage of sell, let's say Swift and a I don't know, some receiver that did okay, like a in redraft, like Jordan Addison or something like that, and get like a Nick Chubb, which I know you Jordan Addison, but I'm saying like that tier, that mid-tier receiver where it's like right underneath, or like take those two and pair them to get like a big time receiver like a Tyreek Hill, or because there are people that naturally just live on that, like as soon as somebody has a good game, they're like, oh my God, you got to get Swift. You need to have him right now. And they're like offering. And so, if you can, take advantage and sell him because it's still not their backfield. Sirianni's already said, hey, this 1 week we may do this, 1 week we may do that. And everybody hated that Bill Belichick conundrum that happened with running backs where you didn't know whose week it was going to be, whether it was going to be James White or, somebody else random that you didn't even know was on the roster that week, And I think that's kind of the Eagles. They're going to try to get Gainwell, but then it could easily be either way. Now, Rashad Penny didn't do anything for his value in that game. Boston Scott actually looked like a more physical runner, whenever he carried the ball. Swift looked quick. Swift looked like he was able to get in space, but I mean, Scott looked stronger as he ran the ball. So again, Dr. Hook, sell Swift if you can.
Yeah, I didn't think that Swift really even looked good until they actually let Scott get into the game. Like all of a sudden, Scott's doing these big spin moves and making people miss, and all of a sudden, once the defense started getting tired, time of possession too. I mean, they got to play that into account. That defense, with all those turnovers, was very tired, especially after halftime. That's when Swift really took off. That defense was mad tired.
And to this vein, though, it might be hard to pivot that into like a superstar trade, like a Tyreek Hill or Nick Chubb. People are holding on pretty tight to those guys, but you could probably very easy pivot into a Josh Jacobs who didn't have the greatest one.
That's the name I was thinking.
Henry, who people are down on Derrick Henry, even though he had a 100-yard game on the road in the Saints building with Steve Gleason on the freaking sidelines. Like, what are we talking about here?
They play Miami.
I'm gonna watch these Muppets talk about Tyjae Spears' snap percentage. Like that matters at all when he got 4 freaking touches.
I think they play Miami this week, who just gave up 233 yards.
They play the Chargers. They're at home. Derrick Henry is going to destroy them.
Yeah, it's like they were the second most rush yards against. I think it was like 200 and something still. So, I mean, I'd be playing Derrick Henry. Go get Derrick Henry if you can.
Yeah, no doubt. He's not done.
And turn that into Jacobs or Henry or someone like that, where people are kind of like, oh, he didn't have the smash Christian McCaffrey week 1. Like this idea that fantasy players have to get you 150 and 2 touchdowns every week or they suck is just something that needs to get yeeted.
Yep.
You should say yeeted.
Let's see. Hey guys, start 2 and half PPR. Flowers, Puka, Watson, Nico Collins, or Kelly.
I won't be Puka if he's not playing.
It's not Puka. Puka's got the rib or oblique or whatever it is now, so Puka's out.
I'm on Flowers for sure.
Flowers for sure.
Yeah, that's the easy one.
Good. I don't think that was a fluke either.
Oh, Nico Collins. You know what?
Yeah. Same.
Upside pick. Flowers,
11 targets last week. Yeah.
Flowers is like a 4, and I think Collins, they have Indianapolis. I'm not that scared of their defense, and I actually think Houston could win that game if Richardson's banged up because he took some shots in that Jaguars game that were totally unnecessary. And there was one right at the very, very end of the game, too, that he took that was like, why are you doing that? I get that you're huge and you think you can run over everyone, but this is the NFL. Josh Allen, not the quarterback, put him in his place last week. Like, he had like 8 tackles, 3 sacks, just destroyed him.
Now, in fairness, CJ Stroud is also questionable with a shoulder issue.
Yeah, but they have decent. I mean, Davis Mills and the other Jamal there. I think it's Keenum, isn't it?
Still? Yeah, Case Keenum. Yeah,
they're viable backup quarterbacks at least. I'm probably rolling with Collins. I mean, Kelly. It's gross.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Start Josh. I get it. It's super hard to say. Start Kelly.
And Eckler's gonna be out. Yeah, maybe it's. No, I'm rolling with probably it's half PPR. I'm rolling with Flowers and Nico.
It's so hard. He's struggling.
Yeah, it might be Nico. But I mean, you gotta think about this too. This game could be pretty crazy. I mean, we know that the Colts the win percentage is crazy against the Texans and even at home or against them, so 31-10-1 versus the Texans, and then 14-6-1 in Houston. So I mean, those odds are fit. And by the way, if anybody out here plays DFS, I'm gonna go fire up Zach Moss this week, and everyone might laugh at me, but
we were talking about it,
man.
We talked about it before you got on, and we were like, we're gonna have to give JC his Zach Moss moment. So here it is, JC.
Here it is.
The floor is yours. Tell everybody why Zach Moss is the play.
All right, so last year, I mean, he only got 4 games at the end of the year last year. I guess he had to get a little bit going, but against Houston, man, in week 18, he tore it up. He went 18 carries for 114 yards and a touchdown. So I like that because they play against Houston this week, and it's him and Deion Jackson. So I might just take a shot on him, and especially in DFS because he's not going to cost you anything.
Yeah, I don't for DFS, but in any other format,
yeah, it's risk.
It's like a toxic plague. Moss to me is like the guy sneezing at the counter with COVID, and I'm just trying to get 6 feet.
You know what though? If Moss does have a game next week, JC will not let anybody live it down. He's like, I told you.
What I will say in his favor is Texans run defense still not where it should be, and is very much still you can target them for fantasy for pretty much the rest of the year, even though I like Will Anderson there. They're still going to get run on. We saw it with the Ravens. So, I mean, but it's Robitussin. Tastes awful, but it works.
Richard's a little banged up too. Maybe they don't run him as much, and they have to run Zach. I mean, who knows? You
never know.
It's football, man.
Greg says Jacobs and Henry are risky long term.
Yeah.
But for Swift, if you could trade and get one of them for Swift and something like in redraft, at least for sure.
I was gonna say Swift is also risky. Well, if we're talking long term,
beyond his age, why is Derrick Henry that risky?
He's talking about the curse, man. So there's a bunch of research going back to a long time, way back. The only person to break that is running back from. I'm gonna be dumb for not knowing the name, but Tomlinson or LaDainian. LaDainian's the only one to break the curse. The curse of 370. So anytime a running back goes for over 370 touches, they have a shit year the following year.
He's already
the only person to break that curse is LaDainian. He did it multiple years.
Derek already did it in his career.
Last year he had that. The year before he had that huge year, and then last year he had the injury. So I mean it's crazy. So I mean I guess so. Last year he also went over 370. So he's just.
But the curse has been broken. You said so yourself. So does a curse exist? Get it's broken and then come back?
And you get recursed.
It's only, I mean, I guess.
They act like he's going to fall off a cliff, and it's like there's outliers, and there always has been. And it's funny how this whole idea that we're in fantasy and we're betting on outliers, and, people will talk up every jamoke that's ever existed and walk on a football field like he's going to do something. And here is the king, and people are like falling off tomorrow.
People are like, am I playing Henry or Kelly? Am I playing Henry or Kelly?
A little fun fact for you on Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is the only human in history, the only human being in the world ever to exist to run for 2,000 yards in high school, 2,000 yards in college, and 2,000 yards in the NFL.
He's a freak. And you know what people forget too is that when he was starting out with the Titans, like infuriatingly so, they would not give him the full workload for like 2 years. So he had more tread on the tire than people think. And I remember because I bought in so hard on his rookie season, and I rode that out for 12 weeks of sweet F all just to finally be like, all right, you know what? It's not going to happen this year. I'm going to cut him. I can't do this anymore. The moment I cut this man, he runs 200 yards every freaking game for the rest of the year and hasn't stopped since then.
Well, they put DeMarco Murray. They're like, all right, we'll just trade for DeMarco Murray real quick when we got this giant in the backfield. And then DeMarco Murray goes out and tears it up that year. So it's like, I guess he's just going to sit back there.
No, the Tyjae Spears and Jalen Warren truthers, I'm sick of them this year. I can't take it anymore.
All right, so we're going to pop over to the forum for another question. We got Jay Zamudio 24. Guys, should I get Deontay Johnson right now for Puka? He's back in 4 weeks. Should he do the trade?
Honestly, so Deontay's out that long?
Yeah,
I think they're saying around 4 weeks is what they're.
No, it's super annoying. He's doubtful, and they won't just put him on IR, so I can put him on IR, and it's driving me absolutely crazy in 2 of my leagues where I can't. Obviously, I'm not going to drop Deontay Johnson, but I can't put him on IR right now, and I hate it because he's clearly going to be out for several weeks, and this man's like, I'm day to day. Like, no, you're not. Shut the hell up. I mean, so yeah, no, Deontay Johnson. I personally, I'm not the type of person who likes to go trade for an injured player. Yeah. But I mean, Puka himself is injured and has a San Francisco matchup. If you can get out of it early now, maybe he's the next Cooper Kupp, but probably not. He's a 5th round pick for a reason. So if I can pivot that into Deontay Johnson, but I have to be a team where it's like I'm pretty comfortable I'm going to be 2-0, because if I'm not, there's no way I'm doing this trade.
Yeah. So is this dynasty or not? Because this is dynasty, I feel like you could make
it's redraft.
Oh yeah. I mean, so even in that, you might be able to get a little bit more. I mean, like I said, if you're trading a player that went off, people get excited. It's week. Well, like I said, it's week 1 right now. You just take as much advantage of people you can, because people are just. Fantasy football is back, and they're like, oh my God. That guy just went. He just had 15 targets and had over 20 fantasy points. I needed him in my team. He's the next, Cooper Kupp. Well, I mean,
yeah. Well, I've seen him go for after last week, he got traded in Dynasty for a 1st round pick. I mean, like
that's a win.
yeah, it's wild. Like the trend traders, right? Like,
oh yeah,
I love taking advantage of trend traders.
I don't play with enough of them somehow. I wish I had more.
So next question on the forum, should I drop Alexander Madison and pick up Gibbs off waivers?
What?
I know. I feel like it's like context. Like my other running backs are Walker Robinson and Jamal Williams, but like I don't see how you leave this question not going. Jahmyr Gibbs is available on waivers.
In my 4-man league, this is my situation.
See, this is the thing I'm talking about overreactions in week 1, man. Like that. So I did talk about this on the show the other day. I think it was yesterday. Is after people go out and make these drops from week 1, the overreactors, the people that get excited, go be the person who is active, right, and proactive, and go out there and look who was dropped. So instead of having to spend your fab or spend your priority on the people that people get super excited in week 1, just go out there and see who was dropped. I mean, you might find somebody like, look, Gibbs is out there, dude. You might get Gibbs for free and be happy. Like, dude, he looked the amount of talent, dude, he was explosive. Like every run was for 5 yards. or more.
Another thing I like to do here is, in that same vein of looking to see who was dropped and who all the bids were on, I like to see who made the top bid and which player position did they go get. So, for example, one of my home leagues, crazy enough, like Puka Nacua went for 79 of 125. That was actually second out of the wide receivers because Kendrick Bourne went for 100. So, of course, I'm like, I see this and I see the next bid is $10. I'm like, okay, this guy maybe is like getting used to fab, getting used to certain aspects of the league. So I was like, perfect. Let me go make him an offer of, I sent Tyler Lockett, I think David Montgomery or James Conner or something like that. Those two players. I was like, yeah, let me get Josh Jacobs off you. Now, he granted did not take that trade, didn't fall for that bait, but that's the kind of guys I'm looking for and trying to capitalize on.
Well,
too.
you should have thrown in like 20 fab on that, and you probably could have pushed it over the edge. You can recoup some of that fab you just spent.
Yeah,
That's funny.
That's where you went wrong there.
Yeah.
All right, here's another one from YouTube, Tyler. Who should I start in my flex and full PPR? Najee, Kelly, Williams, Connor, or Gibbs?
well, there's one obvious out.
Obviously, we all love Joshua Kelly, right? Like,
Yeah.
So I'm a big Najee guy this year, and
Too.
last week pissed me off to no end. Like watching that game as a Steelers fan, the only thing that worked for us, for Christ's sakes, was Najee. Literally, he had a 20-yard run. He had an angry stiff arm. He was looking great. And they're like, oh, let's have Kenny Pickett throw the ball 46 freaking times. In what world? It was immediate. It was so fast, too. It was like, I saw it happen. I was like, oh, shit, Najee's going to have a terrible game now. And Jalen Warren's not going to do anything else either, because it was so like bang, bang of like, they went up. We threw an interception. They were up 2 scores. I'm like, this game's over now. We're done. We're done. Matt Canada is not digging us out of this, and neither is Kenny Pickett. So I was like, this shit the whole game. And now I got to wait a whole nother week for Najee to look decent. I'm so convinced that when it happens, like it's going to be like massive and pretty consistent for the rest of the year, because that's what the Steelers want to do, is lean on the run game and defense. They love their workhorse running backs. Tomlin loves Najee like a second son. Like this, he wants to give this man carries. And I love Jalen Warren, but he is a complimentary back. Compliment meaning that you are not the guy taking the load. You are the guy coming in and taking advantage of these tired defenses and popping off little screenplays and, looking good in the process, so that every jamoke on Twitter thinks that you should now be the lead back.
Dang, that sounds, you just described Alexander Madison to a T.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy how that works out, how the backup running back isn't better than the all-pro that left.
Honestly, I was worried that Pollard was going to have that same situation.
I get to hear it all the time. It's just,
I've actually got Najee as one of those, for me personally, kind of like a start and stay. Like I'm not pulling Najee out of my lineup for much, if at all.
This is the only one there that gives me cause for pause, because if they do just like, which is, again, I'm going to lament the Detroit Lions, because now that DeAndre Swift has given us the confirmation bias, how stupid was their draft to just be like, let's just trade let these 2 running backs walk and bring in the exact same replacements. Why? TJ Hawkinson, same thing. Now we got the cut. Hawkinson looks great yesterday too. All these guys and Twitter's gonna be like, well, less money and rookies, and so you set yourself back several years by bringing in rookies so that you didn't have to pay the guys that were already developed on your team.
Trust the process.
I mean, Laporta looked really good too. I mean, Laporta looked just as good too. But I mean, Hawkinson was a great play. We got to look what happened, with New England versus the Eagles. Man, I mean, Hunter Henry went off, as a tight end. I figured, TJ Hawkinson was going to at least get a touchdown in that game. And there was so much scoring against the Eagles. Defense is not that good. I mean, you got to think about the amount of points, like 28 points against one of the, a team that's supposed to be, a team that can make it to the Super Bowl. I mean, like that's a lot of points. What did what did New England score against them? I mean, probably about just the same, right? I mean, that's a lot of points already against, you know, a stout defense.
Yeah.
Very
supposedly stout.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of leaning Najee on this one.
Kansas City shuffle just to get to Jahmyr Gibbs and not use him. So what the hell was the point? But if we use him, obviously we all saw the talent is there. So that one does make me think like if Jahmyr gets 15 touches, like that's scary for fantasy.
Yeah.
I think we're waiting one more week. I think it's the same thing. It's like I'm still maybe waiting one more week on Gibbs. There's no way I would have been dumping him. Anybody who dumped him does not deserve to even play fantasy football. Sorry. That's rough.
And then, so what do we think about James Conner, though? I mean, workhorse, and he's playing the Giants, who, I mean, it's not as good of a matchup, but and he's not as good as Pollard, but
I don't think that Giants
sucked.
Yeah, but that was the Giants
suck worse.
Yeah, I still go Najee
from the field the whole time, though. You know, got to think about that. I mean,
yeah, I think I'm leaning Najee here for sure, but just wanted to throw that one out there. All right, so let's see. Greg says, if you think Jahmyr is the same as DeAndre, you need to look at Swift's game logs.
Yeah, because game logs.
Yeah, Greg.
Greg's he's a Lions fan, so
hear him roar.
Look at his game log from last night. What does that tell you?
That the Vikings suck. That's what it tells me.
Kirk, Waller, or Kelly as a fourth flex in a tight end premium league.
Waller.
Yeah, I think you have to go Waller.
Kirk looked like, or what? Kirk.
Yeah, that's got to be Christian Kirk.
Yeah, he did. Man, he was like the last man on the list. Like one target for 60.
Can I play too, guys? Guys, can I play?
Peterson came out though and was like, "Oh, he sucks at zone coverage." So it's like he threw him under the bus, but then immediately was like, "But he's awesome against man, and that's what the Chiefs do. So watch out for him this week." I'm like, so are we just supposed to like look up the defense that he's playing and be like, okay, zone defense, he's out this week? It's Waller pretty easy in tight end premium. He plays
Kansas City's like, we're running zone this week, guys.
Yeah, five catches or 5 targets, and then they were just basically like done. They just like sat him.
Crazy.
No, that's what I had to eat crow on early is Calvin Ridley, because I was convinced that, like, you know, like a normal human being, it would take him some time to acclimate to NFL form. And he said, no, I'm going to do it all in one half.
I'm closing my ears because if you want me to get into that real quick, this is a little bit different. Yeah, we got to talk about that. Calvin, this is a wide receiver, dude, who showed us that he was the wide receiver. What he finished, the wide receiver 4 the year before he was out, right? And he's a wide receiver. All he has to do is run and catch. That's all he's got to do. Run and catch. How hard is that to practice every single day? A quarterback, we were talking, the only person we are comparing him to is a quarterback that was out for so long, and Deshaun Watson, who was being, talked about in the news, in court, about all this, stuff that was going on. We want to talk about it, but that's a little bit different than just sitting out because you were out, because of betting. Like, that's a wide receiver. We know what he was. He showed us what he was, and then he sat out. He came back. I was so on, dude. I got Calvin Ridley and then Scott Fishbowl, I think, in like the 6th round. I was so happy. Happy. I was like, thank you. I got him and Ayuk, man. I'm like, yes, week 1 was dope.
Damn.
It's so good.
Though I think like he kind of blew it up though, because he didn't have much work in the second half. Now he didn't really need to because they were already up and it didn't matter at that point. But like, just saying, he did it all in the first half and then didn't really do much. That's kind of where I was thinking, like, it's just going to get him like 4 to 6 games to get into like true game form. So I was more thinking like, oh, he'll be like a secondary, tertiary option, and then he will ascend to being the one. He was like, day 1.
Well, I think Tyler will appreciate this, a little bit of college talk. So he's like the Justin Ross. When Trevor Lawrence played for Clemson, Justin Ross was there, and he's like that style of player, like big plays, gonna like that's what it is. I think that's what Trevor was really, really missing. That big, that nice wide receivers that's gonna get the ball for him. I mean, Kirk is great and everything, but he's missing that nice, good players that's gonna go get it.
Yeah, Kirk was never, even though they gave him the money, Kirk was never wide receiver 1. Like I'm not in on like
That's why Ingram blew up. That's why Ingram was like that big guy. He like did almost everything. I think like that was that. Yeah, dude, Calvin Ridley is the guy. He is him.
He is him.
on that team.
All right, so let's hop back over to the network. We got 3 questions to pop through here. We've already hit kind of a couple on Fat Squirtle's post, but after a big week 1 and report Eckler isn't traveling with the team, is Kelly an obvious start?
It's not obvious, but he is in fact a start.
Quite literally. I mean, it depends on what your roster is made of. Like, what are your other options? You know, like we've had him in multiple questions tonight, and I don't think we've actually picked him over the other options in any of those questions.
No, so, I'm even just like gonna go pull up now and see like where does Josh Kelly actually slot in? Because like I'm starting him over Ravens running backs. I know that.
Yeah.
Starting him over Colts running backs.
Yeah. Starting over Rams running backs.
Yeah, because they're facing the Niners, eh?
If you bench Swift,
all right, Canadian. With the A in there. We love you though, Jack.
Colts running backs, Chiefs running backs, even.
No,
yeah, I'm down about McKinnon. He did not get a lot of work. Did not.
Yeah, but would you start Kelly over Pacheco?
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't.
Probably not. I think Pacheco gets a bounce back.
I feel like.
Let me ask you this: do we get a curveball?
If Kelsey starts, I'm starting Pacheco. I think that he gets more work if Kelsey's there because that's a little bit of a difference maker. Who was a wide receiver that really made you not want to like stop the run, right? On that offense. When Kelsey's there, he's like a presence, you know, like 2 or 3 people have to focus on Kelsey. All right, well, your run game's going to go a little bit more. I think that's a little bit different. So if Kelsey's starting, I think I might be more excited about running backs.
Yeah, because Kelsey preoccupies some linebackers in there. Even
Williams or Josh Kelly.
Oh my God.
Jamal Williams this week.
So I don't know. You're really depending. So with Jamal Williams, that's the same thing we got to think about. You're really depending on touchdowns. That's his style. It's almost always been. That's tough.
That's where I feel like mine is.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Josh
All right,
Kelly.
so here's a question that a lot of people are throwing out there. It's coming from the network. ZBear10391 said, "Is it possible to start Garrett Wilson this weekend against the Cowboys D without Rodgers?"
It's possible.
It sucks.
Yeah, okay, so
it's not a good option, but it's possible.
Let's rephrase that a little bit. Are you starting Garrett Wilson?
Yeah, I got no choice.
Yeah, if you don't have a choice. So here's the thing. He did it. He definitely is still talented. It's not like he's not talented. We saw him last year with like 3 very, very mediocre quarterbacks and still put up numbers. I mean, he was still wide receiver, 21 in his rookie year, and he had some wide receiver 1 numbers over the year with some note. I mean, Joe Flacco, Mike White, and Zach Wilson. I mean, who else? There was a 4th quarterback, I think, that got in there too.
There was at some point.
Yes, see?
That's the literal problem, though, is consistently he did better with everybody that was not Zach Wilson.
That's true.
It could have been me out there, and it didn't, like, they were connecting with Garrett. It was like, they were like, everybody else seemingly was like, let's just pepper Garrett Wilson 1,000 times and see if that works. And Zach Wilson was the only one who was like, nah.
He's like, Garrett Wilson won't let me meet his mom, so I'm not throwing him the ball.
Garrett did have the touchdown of the week this week, though. So he had the catch of the week with the one-handed bobble with the yeah, I mean, he's still, it's not like he's not talented. He just got to get the targets. He's going to catch the ball. So, right. I mean,
it's so bad. I have him in my 2 biggest tournaments, Tiger Bowl and Scott Fish Bowl. I've got Garrett Wilson in both of them. I was like very, very high on the Garrett Wilson breakout season, and just now without Daddy Rodgers. I said, though, and I made a video about it, and it probably won't happen. I get it. It's not realistic. I don't need to be realistic. I'm an idiot. Aaron Rodgers should be the offensive coordinator, like assistant for the rest of the year, because Nathaniel Hackett does not know how to communicate with the team beyond like the X's and O's. So like when he's like teaching just like straight up, like you need to run this route, you need to do X, Y, pass block, fine. His jokes are terrible. His sense of humor is like really off-brand and eccentric. It doesn't land with people. If you watch back Hard Knocks and watch back like a lot of these clips of him as a coach in other places, a lot of times if it's not like Aaron Rodgers interacting with him directly, like there's even this one with Breece Hall where he's doing this weird bit where he keeps going up to Breece Hall and trying to introduce himself like it's some weird joke. Like, hello, I'm Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator for the New York Jets. Nice to meet you. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And I can understand, like, as a leader of men, why he didn't succeed in Denver. Now, I'm not going as far as, like, Sean Payton saying he's the worst coach of all time, but it's clear, like, there's different levels to, like, speeches and the ability to deliver speeches and the ability to get people to galvanize behind you when you are doing that. And it's really funny that like most NFL coaches should honestly go to promo school like WWE wrestlers, because to be able to lead a locker room, you need to be able to like, you can't be out here like, we're going to eat a W, because then people look at you like you're an idiot and they don't want to follow you. So NFL quarterbacks and coaches, go to promo school with WWE wrestlers and you will be better at your job. But even on like the X's and O's standpoint, Aaron Rodgers said there was this point where it was Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, and Hack on the field. Hack basically says like a bunch of crap real fast, like calling out the play and the audible and this, that, the other thing. And Zach Wilson clearly has no idea what he said. Rodgers looks at him, doesn't ask, like, Rodgers can tell. He's one of those people that has like an innate ability to read body language. And so he just looks at Wilson and says, oh, I'm going to tell, like he tells him basically what Hack said. And he's like, oh, thanks for translating. You take that away and just leave it to Hack and Zach Wilson to define that relationship. Good luck this year. So long-winded way of saying, I really hope that Garrett Wilson is a thing, but if Zach Wilson is the quarterback rest of the year, probably not, but you don't have a choice, so you start him anyways and just pray.
Just put Aaron in his ears. I think that's what Ronnie was saying. He's like, can Aaron just be like, hey, in the whole time in his ears, be like, hey, all right, throw the ball now. Throw it to
Garrett Wilson on the slant.
We saw it in the preseason. How much better did Zach Wilson look in the preseason compared to, again, it's backups, I get it, but just how much more comfortable, how much happier, how much more at ease did he look in the offense as compared to when he had to take over for Rodgers, who wasn't available clearly on the sideline at that point.
Yeah.
So he did get the win. Stifler's mom was waiting for him after the game.
All right. Next question.
Yeah, so going back, JC, when you were talking earlier about Ridley, I was thinking like, would you, to Ridley's face, say, hey, all you got to do is run and catch the ball, right? And so Greg goes, not true, JC. NFL wide receivers also have to read coverage. They have to make route adjustments. Jacksonville didn't throw much in the second half, only 4 passes in the fourth quarter. Just calling you out, man. I
mean, Justin Jefferson in week 1 had 138 yards, and then he finished the week with 150. So, I mean, it's the same thing, right? I'm happy with the receiver getting that every week.
Well, you know, Greg's always gonna push the line. You know, he's gonna make sure you're on your toes, JC.
I mean, it's like telling a kicker, man, all you gotta do is kick the ball through the uprights, right? So all you gotta do is run and catch the ball.
I mean, if that's all you're training, I mean, yeah, you gotta. I mean,
we're just oversimplifying it, but yes,
playing with Trevor Lawrence, man, he's sunshine. That's a sunshine, dude. Have you ever seen Remember the Titans? He's gonna throw it to his best receivers.
So, would you rather start Dak or Richardson at QB this week? I'm going Richardson.
That's a doozy.
Assuming he's healthy, it's Richardson, but that's because I had just like the Cowboys offense as kind of a bust this year, and Pollard was, chief on my list, not because of Pollard's talent necessarily, but because I really hate the coaching. The fact that McCarthy came out and said something as ludicrously stupid as, well, my former offensive coordinator was just focused on scoring points. Like, yeah, you Muppet, that's how you win the games.
Oh, his bad.
Defense, man, the defense. I knew the defense was good, but damn, they put in like all-time performance last week, and you can't bet against the defense right now. But I think that's kind of the problem for Dak. Dak had a fine real-life game last week, was terrible for fantasy.
Yep.
Like 150 yards, no touchdowns. So,
yep,
and I expect basically the same thing this week.
That Jets D is for real.
Every other quarterback with a pulse.
Yeah, we might have to start relooking this thing for fantasy for quarterbacks. Just like it's almost you're looking for quarterbacks that are in catch-up mode. Like Kirk Cousins this week, man, he has over 37 points in fantasy, and it's just because, and he still lost. Like he looked like shit. There was a lot of turnovers, but he still he had 4 touchdowns, 355 or 350 passing yards. It's like
let's put this in perspective against the Chargers. Would you rather play Ryan Tannehill or Dak Prescott this week?
Dak Prescott. It's really bad, but that's where I'm going.
I think that's the answer, but you'll be wrong because ultimately the defense and Tony Pollard are going to take care of the game, and Dak won't have to do anything. He'll look fine in real life, but again, for fantasy, I don't see him throwing 3-4 touchdowns against the Jets defense, even though they've lost.
Yeah, no.
Daddy Rogers, and maybe they come out and get creamed on the road, but their defense is just so good. I don't know that they're going to be able to just go up and down the field on them. This could be a gross, low-scoring game. Dallas 24, Jets 13.
I'll take it.
I'm not into it for fantasy.
The most turnovers last week was the Bills, and the Jets defense caused that. So
yep.
Yeah, Jets defense is nasty.
Yeah, it's good. Don't let. I would just say to people it looks like when you're in your fantasy league, I'm sure Houston is lit up red, as in they're a tough matchup for your quarterback this week. Don't let that fool you. They just have the quarterback stats against them aren't high because they're so easy to run against. So they haven't given up a lot of quarterback stats. So it probably puts them as this red, really tough matchup. And that's not true for quarterbacks. And Richardson, especially being a running quarterback, he's just going to run all over him. So I can see Richardson having a ton of rushing yards this week. So don't let that red Houston lit up beside his name fool you.
And I worry though, being banged up, if he starts rushing too much, we might see him not complete the game. That's the only thing. I mean, it's one of those ceiling versus floor type deals. He's got the bigger ceiling with the matchup and everything, but it does make you a little nervous, him nursing injuries already, which was something that we all came into the season saying, okay, Richardson's an athlete. He's going to run the ball. He's going to score rushing touchdowns. The question will be, will he stay healthy for the full season?
I don't think he will, but if he can stay healthy to the third quarter against Houston, he'll outscore Dak.
My initial thought with Richardson is he going to throw the ball enough to be relevant? He's going to, and we saw, I was very off of Pittman just because of that fact. I thought maybe Downs might be the guy just because of just short dump off passes in the middle. But, Pittman really showed up. It was at the end of the game. I guess it wasn't a lot with Richardson, but he still showed up. I was very surprised at that. He still got the ball no matter what. They still put him in play. So
Richardson's got a good QB coach now too. They're gonna get him on track, because I thought that Jalen Hurts was gonna completely suck in the NFL, and look at him now. So.
All right, so got another question from the Fantasy Football Advice Network. Bradley Twin 01. This is Josh, for those of you who tuned in last week, and happens to be a Giants fan. He wants to know, so opinions on Giants offense as a whole. Can you trust any of them, or was the Cowboys defense just a cheat code against an otherwise decent team? Can you go with anybody Giants as especially I think the question really hits when you talk about receivers. Is there anybody in that receiver group that's startable or even really rosterable?
Waller. That's it. Waller.
Yeah, Waller is a
I would
receiving
say
option.
Hyatt is rosterable only as like a deep stash because he could eventually emerge. Rookies tend to take a little longer to acclimate. Out of all the wide receivers there, I like his speed and talent the most for like those deep pot shots. But beyond that, there's no reliability beyond. And I will say throw out week 1 because like same thing.
That was rough.
Wasn't fair.
Crazy rainstorm.
It's not going to dictate the rest of the season. I'm fine with Danny Dimes, Darren Waller, Saquon, end of list.
Yeah, that offensive line looked pretty bad though, man. I am worried for somebody who has, I had Daniel Jones is finishing the top 10. I think I had him in that. I think I'm at 9, and that offensive line has me worried, like really worried. Like that looked really bad. There's a lot of. I think he got sacked like 7 times. That's a lot.
Dallas is going to make a lot of offensive lines look terrible.
Yeah, but 7 times. That's a lot of sacks, man. That's like college. That's bad.
That is a lot. It was great for my fantasy team, but I wasn't playing against Dallas defense anywhere, so
I was.
Yeah. Nico looks furious, man. Like him and Aiden this week, like watching Aiden Hutchinson and
Aiden was a monster.
Like they look so disruptive, man. It's gonna be. Whew, they look crazy good.
It's gonna be a fun game. Fun game. All right, let's see.
Here's one from Damon the Beast over here. Should I make some trades or leave my team be? You can see that. My one advice I'm going to say is always be looking to improve your team. I mean, always.
I'm going to tell you right now, I might be afraid of London. And I talk about this a lot with Ritter, man. So his projected over-under for passing yards before the season starts was like 2,500 or 2,550. So that's really low. And I actually had London going over 1,000 of those yards. And I actually am like kicking myself, like watching that week last week. I think that might just be how it's going to kind of be. I mean, even Pitts, man, if Pitts were to catch like 25% of that share, that's like less than 700 yards. That's really bad for what people were drafting Pitts at. Like I'm really worried about that team.
I think he could probably use some help at running back. If you could move London and get like a good medium running back, that would help you a lot. I think you're gonna have to wait a week though.
I was gonna say you can't move London right now.
Yeah, you're not gonna have to wait a week for him.
Taking London.
But it only takes 1 week, and then all the London truthers will be back at it, and they'll be saying, "Oh yes." So just 1 good week, and then you can make a move, find you a running back.
Maybe move Montgomery and London or something like that, and get a
trade Montgomery to the Gibbs owner, who's freaking out that Gibbs didn't get that much usage. There you go.
And London maybe, and go get yourself a good running back. I mean,
yeah.
London, people are still maybe they're gonna think it's a fluke game. And like I said, like London we saw what he kind of did last year. He was still really good.
Yeah.
I think D-Hop. If you can trade D-Hop on his name value and get D-Hop and pair him with Montgomery and go get yourself an actual real live running back, again, targeting, if it's redraft, like Derrick Henry or Josh Jacobs or someone like that, that's where I'd be trying to pivot. Mahomes, Kelsey, that's
Najee.
Or even Najee. Like if you can make that happen, I would do
that a lot.
Yeah, I think Najee's a gettable target.
Joker's out here burning in his money real quick.
I'm not sure.
I will say though, I thought Drake London would like succeed, but it's gonna be in spurts, and we've seen it before with AJ Brown back in the day. I had London pegged as kind of like an AJ Brown light because the system that Arthur Smith runs, and I've lamented this basically since Kyle Pitts was drafted. You can't draft Kyle Pitts because Arthur Smith hates him. And when I say that jokingly, what I actually mean is that Arthur Smith runs top 5 percentage in the NFL of 2 tight end sets, which are meant for blocking. He runs bottom 5 3 wide receiver sets, which are meant for passing. So he's out here basically taking his generational receiving tight end and saying, go block every down.
And they went out and spent a 5th round fifth overall pick on another running back after they had 1,000-yard rusher last year. So I mean, they basically told us what they were gonna do. We're gonna run the ball. We're gonna score through running.
But in that offense, there's always been room for the big X receiver, the one guy that gets the ball. And that was AJ Brown with the Titans. And I thought it could be Drake London with the Falcons. Now, the problem is Mac Hollins might be eating his lunch money. And if they're going to be splitting it between those two, then they're neither is viable anymore. So, yeah, as soon as Drake London has a game, try and pivot off of him if you can. That's what I'm going to be doing. But you can't do anything with him right now.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you, man. That's the crazy thing. It's like that's why I had him projected over 1,000. I thought the same thing. Like they're just going to be this one guy that's just going to be catching the ball a lot more than everyone else. And
yep,
we're wrong.
Yeah,
we'll see though. Like week 1, right? 1 week.
Right, don't panic. We got to keep our composure.
Don't panic.
All right, here's one from Ryan Decker. James Cook or Garrett Wilson flex, and off the wire Hollywood, Roshan, Deontay, or Moss. Well, I think JC is going to go with Moss here.
No, I don't know. I think I'm still going to go Garrett Wilson over all these people. I think the upside's still there.
No, it's James Cook for me.
Yeah, I'm James Cook. They're using him. They used him a lot in that game, and he didn't look bad, when he touched the ball. He had a couple decent runs. I think they want to highlight him. And Lord knows Josh Allen needs to stop running the ball before he gets himself hurt, man. He took some hits that game that were just didn't need to happen, unnecessary, and for no reason. It wasn't like he was going to get the first down taking those hits. They were just hits he decided to take. And I think you got to be smarter than that.
He did that last year too, though.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, it's just do not do that.
Quit doing that, man. Just quit.
Yeah,
sure. Hurt my fantasy
hard
team.
Because look, I played football, but I played it on a much lower level because I live in Canada. So nobody gives a crap here. Seriously, I joke all the time. I was captain of the team, and seriously, it made me less popular. There's no bands, there's no cheerleaders, nobody in the stands besides your parents on really big games. Seriously, it may as well be pee-wee football out here. It's not the same, but I understand that mentality of I've been in games where I've been hurt and stayed in and probably, put myself through things I shouldn't have. Because it's you're trying to do too much to win. Our team sucked on offense. Literally, we went to the playoffs and we won our 2 playoff games. And I was I was middle linebacker. That was my thing. I led the defense. So it was it really felt like I had to do everything. We won our first game 9-7 because I got a safety.
Because you were doing everything.
And then we got our second game against the undefeated team in the league, and we beat them 7-6. We blocked the extra point.
There we go.
I had 5 sacks that game. I blocked a punt. My boy who got the block on the extra point was because I took his man and my man. And he just had an open lane and blocked it. So he got the glory. It was one of those. And then so the championship game rolled around. I was playing with literally 9 different injuries at that point, and I just was trying to do too much. And it was to the point where it became almost detrimental to the team and to our game, where it's if you can't be effective, and when you start trying to just raw dog it the way Josh Allen starts doing, that's where you actually the mentality is I'm doing everything I can. I'm putting myself on the line. And so when you're in the moment, you don't even realize it as a player. And that's why it is really up to the coaches to pull him back and be look, you cannot Superman dive 7 yards out trying to get a first down that nobody needs you to get. But getting all the way back to, I think they're going to rebound this week. The Raiders have been much better than I expected them to be, but they're still a beatable defense on the run. So,
dude, Aaron's roasting you in the chat right now.
All the sunglass comments. I'll tell you guys what it is. It's a combination of real life peek into my life. I wake up at 5 a.m. every day. And I stayed up for Thursday night football thinking,
Maybe the time.
hey, I'll be able to sleep until 7 today. But no, my asshole dog that I just got, she's a puppy, 4:35 a.m., just scratching away at the cage, just like I need to get. So I take her outside, go to the bathroom. I try to go back to bed after. Nah, she's not having it. So I'm running on 4 or 5 hours sleep. Tried to take a nap, woke up. My eyes were just bloodshot. And I'm like, it took a couple
Gotta get that
times.
roto. Gotta
Made
get
it
that
so
roto.
much worse. So right now, actually, yes, I do have like really bad eye sensitivity. I got Corey Hart trying to be cool with wearing my sunglasses at night. Legitimately, my eyes were like ready to bleed from looking at the computer screen. So yeah, that's why I've got the LA nightshades. Yeah.
Look, he's just here. He's just here for the roast, man. He's like in the chat. He's like, "Did you really score 4 touchdowns in a game?" He's like Jack out here pulling an Al Bundy and telling high school football stories. It's okay, Jack. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
I love it.
He needs to block the light as he sets his cash on fire.
El Fuego, dude. El Fuego.
All right, let's get to some more questions. In the chat. Let's leave Jack alone. Jack, I love the shades.
All right.
As long as we keep getting the
I'm
impressions.
not thick skin. Y'all can bring it. Keep bringing it.
All right. With Tannehill's week 1, how long before Will Levis plays?
Very long because Malik Willis is the backup.
Very long.
Yeah, I know. I don't think Will Levis is that good. He's too busy getting his endorsements from Mayo companies.
Oh God, gross. So let's move on. Next question. Greg, why'd you waste our time with that?
And a dilemma because I feel like most of these players are on the same tier: Joshua Kelly, Brees, Terry McLaurin, Michael Thomas, blah 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 blah. Who's the one guy to bench out for these options?
How is Josh Kelly the same tier as Brees Hall?
I know. I was kind of wondering the same.
Okay, so I think maybe I might be a little bit afraid of Brees just this week, but I mean we got this guy's got. I mean he went off last week, and we know he just because he can't cut as much, but that top speed, regardless. If you were to put Dalvin to run straight versus him running straight, I mean I'm still taking that Brees card. You know, I'm not off of Brees. If you want to roll Brees over Kelly, I'm fine with that. Over all these players, I mean that's your most talented. I mean it's hard to sit Brees over these other players.
Yeah, I think it may decide it for you if Puka misses. Like that. Yeah,
it's not the same tier as Brees and Josh.
Well, and Puka is playing against San Francisco. I just don't like it. Like he's hurt. Tough matchup. Puka's probably the one guy out of that group. Him or Michael Thomas.
Oh, Joker, you ever see that? You didn't even see the painting back here, did you?
Oh, I saw it.
Oh, dude, he saw it. He saw it. Shades on everything. He saw it.
I got the Batman back here too. You see that?
Yeah. No, I saw that when we clocked in. Out of all these guys, I'm benching Puka. That's easy for me.
Yeah,
with
sure.
the Leak and the San Fran matchup.
Yep.
Even if you got him off waivers, which I didn't have to do, by the way. I had him on a lot of teams because he was a late flyer for me, so I got to avoid that rush. So pat on the back for myself there, but no, I'm benching.
Does it feel as good as that high school game did, or
we lost the championship? So the end of that story sucks, and it was against St. Mary's, which is like the only good rivalry that we had in the whole fucking time. Like y'all don't realize how bad high school football is. Y'all think I'm bragging. I'm really not. Y'all don't get it. It's like if I could take every movie you've ever seen where like the team is dog shit at the beginning, and we were that, but at the end, like we never got better. Like the quarterback still couldn't throw a touchdown to save his life by the end of the season.
Well, why didn't you play quarterback and wide receiver?
So that actually was a legitimate problem. I could not play quarterback because we did not have enough players on the team.
Jack shows it to the game
to cover the actual position. So I played like middle linebacker, outside linebacker, DN, D lineman, And then on offense, because I had to play two ways, I played tackle, guard, center, fullback, tight end.
At the same time.
Yeah, all at the
Look,
same time.
Yeah.
Jack is him. That's all you need to know.
Jack is
Jack
him.
is
dude.
him.
It was
Into
like,
this.
dudes,
Disruptor.
we had dudes on our fucking roster that like literally didn't have names. I remember my favorite was this guy Clean Gear. That's just, we called him Clean Gear the entire year because he showed up with this janky ass jersey that said Clean Gear on it. This kid was so bad he never even got a name.
Wait,
he wasn't even the worst on the
Are
team.
you like the Matthew Stafford of Canadian football or what? Just don't know anybody's name. You're just like, we're just going to go out and play. I'll give you a name. You're the guy with the jersey.
Wait, did you have to provide your own jerseys?
Yeah, for practice? Yes. That's how, dude, I'm telling you guys, you don't understand. We had to have our own jerseys for practice.
Like wearing 2X t-shirts over your pads?
Game jerseys? Not all our game jerseys matched.
It's like Happy Gilmore and when everyone was trying.
Not all our game jerseys matched, bro. The dudes that were at the bottom of the roster had the dumbest looking fucking jerseys you've ever seen. We had 30 new jerseys for the starters. That was it. Everybody else, you got jank from the 1970s.
I would be like, just give me my pads and spray paint my number on. Like, I'm good.
It's so funny because it was like I didn't play much offense. When I did, it was mostly for blocking because like all I did was hit. I just was like, I love to hit. That was my thing. I love hitting. I love getting hit. Just let me go out there and just lay kids out and not get in trouble for it. Perfect.
Well, good. You're mentally sound, so that's good. Okay.
No, honestly,
You're not playing hockey. You're Canadian.
2 years of I can't skate. So that's a funny thing. Is like I suck at skating, and my mom.
So you're not real Canadian.
When I was young. Nah, I remember being like a young kid though, and I was like, oh, I really want to do hockey. Like that's the thing, right?
I'm from Minnesota, so like everybody skates here.
My mom forced me into skating lessons. 2 days, I was like, this sucks. I'm never doing this again. So hockey was out for me. I'm good at road hockey. I can stay on my feet. Floor hockey.
It's called street hockey.
Yeah, street hockey.
Road hockey.
Yeah.
So, like I said, in Canada, though, like you put me in the States, I'm not even a walk-on.
Where's the A? I forgot the A at the end.
Jack is not him.
A.
Jack played on a team that didn't have enough dudes to cover the positions.
All right, so back to fantasy football.
Yeah, I know, right?
This already is fantasy football.
Right, I know.
Let me tell you, if you had Jack on your fantasy roster, you're winning championships, okay?
No, you're getting to the championship.
Offense, PPR, it don't matter. You're getting a shit with Jack Lucene on you.
You get my whole one offensive touchdown that I scored. You get my one kick return touchdown.
Oh,
now we're just bragging.
Oh
now you're just bragging, Jack.
All right. Let's bring it in. We got a couple more questions to hit before we get this thing.
Flowers or Godwin? Fuck that. Start Jack.
Yeah.
Start Jack. Hold on. Just gonna pull it up each time. Just keep. I'm going. I don't know. Flowers or Godwin? I can't even think right now. Flowers or Godwin?
Shit. Godwin. I actually like Baker in the matchup against the Bears this week.
Yeah,
I do too. That secondary looked absolutely trash.
I was down on the Bucks, but they played much better than I thought they would. I think the defense is decent. I don't know. I'm hoping Fields and DJ Moore don't let me down again because I got a lot of shares of them, but
Fields won't let you down.
I'm going with Godwin.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw this caveat, okay? If Mark Andrews misses again, I go Flowers. If he plays, I go Godwin. That's my tell.
I like that caveat. I'll take that caveat.
I like that caveat, but at the same time, like the Bears' secondary is probably worse than Minnesota's, and they're gonna just. I mean, we already saw what the Bucks did against Minnesota in Week 1. I mean,
Yeah, Flowers got what was
I
it?
know Flowers
double-digit
is slow.
targets.
Yeah. I mean,
They're using him, and he's not like they're not trying to throw him deep. They're giving him the ball and letting him run, and he can make people miss in space, and so I like that.
are they both 1 o'clock games? I guess noon games for us.
I'm not sure actually.
Let's see. Yeah, I still think I'm gonna go Godwin, but yeah, I think Flowers, man, Flowers is the truth. He looks really, really good, and I'm not high on any of those other receivers, especially Bateman, who came from Minnesota, and we can talk about that if you want to later. But Minnesota Gophers, yeah. Besides Eric Decker, every other receiver that came out of here sucks.
Let's keep moving.
All righty. Next one. Oh shit! How did I click that one again? I'm sorry, Jack. I didn't mean to do that to you.
That was Jimmo the Icon show. I mean, they all wear
I
sunglasses.
mean, hey, like I can show
I
you.
love it. It's like it's like his thing, you know.
I'm gonna start wearing them for every.
Yeah, as long as I get an occasional, yeah during the show, I'm good.
No, that's the best one I've seen. That wins the internet today.
Filling women's shoes after the show.
No, because I wish because I didn't win my championship, so unfortunately I don't get to be as good as Al Bundy.
I'm glad they know what that is up in Canada. I'm proud of that. There you go. All right. I'm only talking about this for a week, by the way. Obviously, Kelly is not on the same tier as Brees.
No, yeah, 100%.
Good.
I still think that you take that upside of Brees. I mean, everyone was off of Brees in week 1, and he showed us what he still is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he looked good.
All right. This one's John. What's up, John? Would it be bad move to trade Chubb for?
Yeah.
You don't even have to finish that. Just the answer is yes.
Bad idea to trade
Chubb. I have him. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm so high on Chubb that I'm willing to say I'm willing to die on this hill and say I feel like Chubb can finish as the RB1 overall. Even though
tell us more about your Chubb, JC. Go ahead.
Oh man, big Chubb. Yeah, dude.
Browns.
I've been on. So in my redraft keeper league, Jamar Chase wasn't there at 3 and over everybody. So it went Justin Jefferson, and then it went McCaffrey, and I took Chubb at 3. That's how high I am. So do not trade Chubb. Do not trade Chubb. Do not trade Chubb.
Also, it's half PPR, so
that makes 100%.
That makes it even more of a lock.
Him and Najee were probably my 2 most drafted running backs this year.
I couldn't get Chubb. He kept going before I could even get to him. I didn't.
Dude, I got in Scott Fishbowl, I got Bijan, Chubb, and Brees Hall. Oh my God. I don't know how. It's crazy.
That's wild.
And still got Calvin Ridley and Ayuk. I'm so happy.
Something's fishy over there. Something's going
live
on.
draft too. I got Trevor Lawrence in the first. I'm so happy. My team's so good.
All right,
so Tyler, that's all we got, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to bring it to an end here, man. Oh my goodness! And then John has to hit us another one. All right, one more. He's just a comment. Okay, I'm good with it. Let's see. When my dad worked at LSU, he got Burrow, Chase, CH, Marshall signed helmets. Yeah, we like signed helmets here. That one actually, though, I wish it was a Nick Chubb signed helmet because I like Nick Chubb. That is actually a Baker Mayfield signed Browns helmet. And right underneath it, I have a Kareem Hunt signed Browns helmet. So, but I don't have Nick Chubb, who's probably my favorite out of the whole roster. But yeah, man, John, thanks for tuning in. Make sure, if you're on the show, like and subscribe. Tune in with us every week from the forum, 9:00 Central Time. We'll be here answering questions from the site, answering questions on the show live. Great guests like Jack and JC, Corey. Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. We talk fantasy. We answer your questions, your start sits. Just come hang out with us. We'll be here every week. And most important, go to fantasyfootballadvice.com and sign up. It's free to sign up. There is a upgrade to your account available if you want to get great content, articles. Jack's articles come on the site and they're excellent. Jack's those articles are probably my favorites. I mean, just real good stuff. So come ask your questions. These guys are on there. They're answering your questions. They're giving you advice. And we're here to hang out. Like fantasy football, it's about the community. It's about the hangout, and that's what we're here to do. And so, again, like, subscribe, go to fantasyfootballadvice.com and sign up today. Before we head out, again, guys, just quickly where they can find your work and start with you, Jack.
Hey, dumb wrestling promos, stupid analysis, entertainment first, advice second. Go to Fantasy Football Joker under my name at Jack Lucena. You can find me YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook.
Awesome wrestling promos.
Dude, wrestling promos are where it's at too. Man, wrestling's, the crazy thing is kids don't even understand. Kids these days don't even understand what we grew up with. They don't even understand what we grew up
back tonight. I don't know why I didn't lead the show off with this, probably because I didn't want to take over the whole entire hour talking about my fucking hero, but if you smile, what the Rock is cooking. Holy shit. This man came back with Pat McAfee, and I don't know. You guys got to go watch the clip because he blew the roof off that place. Like, I haven't heard a pop that loud in probably since Edge came back at the Rumble. Like, that's how loud it was. It was crazy. So, yeah, go check that out.
So, Jack, the last time I went to see a wrestling match, actually, I won tickets to the radio show, and they came here in Minneapolis, and I got to see John Cena sign the contract to fight Roman Reigns. I watched that when he signed the contract. I was at that match, so that was pretty dope. I mean, that was cool because Cena's kind of like that time frame where we were kind of like progressing to the new thing, right? The Cena was kind of like that new thing, and he's just kind of been around, but it was really crazy though. I couldn't see him at some point, like I couldn't really see him, so I didn't know what was really going on. I'm just kidding. That was just a joke. You can't see me.
Yeah.
But anyways, you can find me, JC, at Sports of Philly. Thursday nights, man, we have a crazy watch party, and it's a big collab with Tyler and the Advice Network. So come hang out on Thursdays, man. It's better than the Manning. Better than the Manning cast, I'll tell you that.
Better than the Manning cast.
Absolutely.
You're damn right.
Tell you that.
Jack, we're gonna have to get you on, man. It's a good time.
It's a good
time. You too, Corey. Again, you guys go check out at FF Advice Network. Follow us on Twitter, on Instagram. That tag. Me, Corey are there, supporting you guys, supporting the fantasy football community. You can also follow us. And Jack, or you want to throw out that last question to end the show, Corey?
Yep, here we go. Last one, then we'll wrap it up. Start Burrow or Watson, considering my wide receiver one is T. Higgins. Is it worth hedging Watson?
Burrow.
I'm not starting Burrow. Sorry.
So, in other words, we end this segment with utter disagreement between.
I think you're gonna have to fight it out in a cage match now.
We need the wrestling contract signed right now.
Well, that's fine. Next time we'll talk about my high school wrestling career instead of my high school football career.
That's right. Look, hey, if you want to see it next year live at the Fantasy Football Expo, JC Money versus Jack Lucena in a title bout. Let's go.
They do high school wrestling different up there in Canada, right? There's a lot of maple syrup involved, isn't there?
No, they have flags. It's like flag football. You have flags attached to you. You pull it off when you're done.
You go in.
Be nice to each other, guys.
One guy gets a beaver, one guy gets a goose, and you just beat the shit out of each other.
It's even better. Can I have the goose?
Hey, again, thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe from the forum every Friday, 9:00. We'll see you next week. Appreciate you. Thank you guys for tuning in. We are out.
Oh,